All right, day 3, adverbs that compare. First, let's review. Adverbs that compare two actions are called comparative adverbs. Adverbs. This is what we've been talking about with day 1 and day 2, are comparative adverbs. You compare them. You add er to one-syllable adverbs and add more to adverbs that end in ly, which we've practiced the last 2 days. Today we're going to talk about superlative adverbs. They're a form of comparing, but they're super because they compare more than two actions. So when it's only two, they're called comparative because they compare. When there's more than two, they're called superlative because they're super. They're bigger, they're better. They compare two or more than two, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 1,000, superlative. When forming a superlative adverb, when comparing more than two actions, you add est instead of er. Instead of the word more, you use most, but these are only when you're comparing more than two actions. So when you add est, look at this example. In my house, I wake up the blank. You need to compare there are more than two actions because there's probably more than two people who wake up in your house. You also don't know how many people, so there's not exactly two. You take early and you add est to make earliest. Now you can see that the y changed to an I. That's because it did iest for the spelling. So in my house, I wake up the earliest. When you need to add most, the team cheered. Excitedly is our adverb of all the teams in the race. So there are more than two teams in the race. So we need to add most to excitedly. So we take excitedly and we add the word most to form most excitedly. So the team cheered most excitedly of all the teams in the race. Here is your homework. Pay attention. They are not all superlative adverbs. Sometimes they are just comparative. For example, number 1, they're only comparing two things. He walks and I run. Those are two actions. That's a comparative. That's when you add er or more. Number 2 is comparing her singing to the whole group. That is superlative. So you either add est or most. Number 3 is comparing Jerry and Ben and when they arrived. That's comparative. Add er or more. Number 4 is comparing how he drove and the first driver drove. That's comparative. So the only superlative adverbs is number 2. The 1, 3, and 4 follow the rules of the days we've talked about before.